explains the weirdness of the whole situation, I guess. There you go. That's a little better. I don't have to worry about falling off completely now. Hello, my lovely little titans. I'm sorry that I didn't have a hangout last week. Timing didn't work out, and it was a little late for me to post anything about it, so I apologize. Luckily, things worked out better this week. So, how has everybody been? What have you guys been up to? Anything exciting happened for you, to you, about you? I've had nothing exciting happen to me. So that's why I'm interested in what y'all have to say. Really hard to keep this going when I have nobody to talk to. So I don't know what anybody's interested in talking about. The only thing that I've been doing is reading a lot of fanfics for Scum Villain's self-serving system. I don't know if anybody has heard of that series or read it, but I've been reading a lot, mostly modern alternate universe, because it's, I don't know, I like seeing certain characters, especially from like time set without technology, working in a world that has technology, and how the dynamics can change and all sorts of things. It's really interesting. Hello. Hi, Wolf. That's all right. I understand. Hello. 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 How's everybody doing? That's awesome. I've had a lot of viewers from India in my chat. They're pretty awesome people. So welcome. Welcome, everybody. How have you guys been? I'm from the US. West coast of the US, I guess would be better. Oh, wow. Nice. Very cool, Pablo. Oh, Indonesia. I think we had another person from Indonesia in here once, or a couple of times. He was pretty cool too. Everybody's freaking cool who comes in this chat, for the most part. Oh, that's very kind of you. Hello. Hello, Shania. Hello, Matt. Lots of wonderful people from all over today. That's awesome. I think all of us are to a certain degree, honestly. Yeah, essentially, Nathan. I'm good. Thank you for asking. How are you guys doing? And he tried. Probably because I live out in the country and the internet isn't necessarily the best. This Christian Minecraft server? No, it's T. Nothing. I just usually chat with people and chat mostly about like fandom stuff, various topics, nothing very specific. It can get specific, wildly specific, but it's never anything like I have a set topic. Usually just whatever people kind of bring to me. Earl Grey. You're very kind. Thank you. Well, thank you. Do I miss city life? Yeah, actually, I do. But I don't like big city. I like medium sized city or maybe a little smaller. Um, I miss having conveniences like big retail stores, like um, for groceries and stuff being right down the street, or I can have them delivered and I don't have to worry about going out if the weather's bad or something. I like being close to things. I don't like being out and having to drive to things. Hello, Jace. And thank you to everybody who subscribed. You guys are awesome. Thank you. You're, yeah, I'm 30, sweetie. Very cool, my dude. Yeah, I'm sure you probably knew that already. I kind of don't look like I'm 16. I haven't for a while. I look 24. Well, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Do I believe in aliens? Yeah, I don't really have any evidence to disprove them. I love all the emojis. That's so cute. What about you, Nathan? Do you believe in aliens? That's true. That's why it's always ideal to have an open mind. I think it would be interesting if there was more contact with aliens. Thank you. I'm sure that's sarcasm, but thank you. I've actually heard people suggest that Earth is some kind of like science experiment for aliens, that we were a type of primitive life form that was just dropped here and allowed to exist and thrive, and they were kind of observing from far away. I've also heard that Homo sapiens um, were introduced while Neanderthals were around, and I don't know if anybody has seen Battlestar Galactica, but this one they kind of went with this idea that Homo sapiens from another galaxy came to Earth and you know inhabited it. Um, some even commingled with Neanderthals because they found that Neanderthal DNA and Homo sapien DNA is very different. Of course, there's some people with Neanderthal DNA that suggests that there was some, like I said, intermingling going on. So, but I think that that would actually be kind of interesting. Um, that would actually be really cool if there were like two different types of humans, and it was just we all came from Neanderthals. We were like very different, and because the difference would be because one of us wasn't native to the planet in general. That would be cool. A zoo? Um, oh, who was it? I think it was funny. Phoenix and Ferb kind of did that with the microscopic zoo. I feel like that's what we are. We're the microscopic zoo. That could be us too, yeah. Microscopic zoo, science experiment, um, aliens already that mixed in with the native species on the planet. That would, I mean, any of those are possible. I mean, hmm but I lost my train of thought for a second. But I mean, the U.S. government kind of confirmed that there has been contact with life beyond the stars, I guess, and they have had more interactions than we were led to believe, which is pretty cool. Um, wow, that was really. That's painful. Ow, that hurt. So there's nothing really to say that aliens don't exist. It's just like, in what capacity have we had a history with them, I guess would be a better way of putting it. Like, have they always been around? Have they only sometimes been around? How far back? Like, again, people suggest Stonehenge was built by aliens, the pyramids maybe, or at least the technology came from them. All sorts of ideas, and it does kind of beg the question of how much involvement, if any, was there from people. Pyramids, yep. Was there from aliens and such? Pyramids, 100%. I mean, it would be very cool if that was true. Maybe they weren't involved directly in the like actual building part of it, but maybe they gave the technology and the design and the know-how on how to build it. Like, we had almost a total collapse um, of humanity at a couple points. And it's always interesting that we somehow rise back up. It's like, did we rise ourselves or did we have help in some respect? Did we actually make all these, magnificent wonders of the world, or did we have a little helping hand? How are we able to fall so deep and then rise so high so many times? Was it human resilience or more? I I don't think I've actually heard that, but I'd like to know more about that, Nathan. That sounds really interesting. Mhm. Can I play a song? No, I'm sorry. Oh, the exact coordinates for the red pyramid. Hmm. I will definitely have to look that up. That's fascinating, actually. I swear, it's like we were left one big puzzle to solve, and nobody has really come to any conclusions. It's all these bits and pieces that we just happen to have. Hmm. I shouldn't know what the fuck a meter is. No, that's valid. Again, it would be completely fascinating to look into that and to see if there are any other connections. I would really want to know because, like I said, it's like a big puzzle, and we just keep picking up little pieces, and we're not really sure where they go or how they fit together, but we know they fit together. And some of them we're able to connect, but not all of them. Or if we connect one, it may not last. We may find it fits better with something else, but we don't know why. We don't know how. We don't know any of it. And that would be really cool to discover. I wonder what else there is. Like you said, that equation. I think you said. Don't want to make the speed of light and Giza, the Pyramid of Giza. That's definitely not something I've heard of, but that does sound very interesting. I will Google it as you suggest. But that's just so random. What other things are we overlooking? Loki messed me up. Yeah, no, that's fair. I've always loved learning about Egypt in particular of the ancient civilizations, and Egypt was definitely one I adored. I still think there's more. Wow, that's crazy. That's really hmm. Hello. Hi, Angel. No, you didn't miss it this time. Nathan and I were chatting about aliens and um, speed of light and coordinates of the Pyramid of Giza. Apparently, the speed of light ends up being fair, like the exact coordinates for the Pyramid of Giza. As he said, it's to the seventh decimal point, which I didn't know and I found very fascinating. Yep, I did. Aliens are definitely in the realm of the supernatural, which begs to differ why we don't see them in the show Supernatural. Not even gonna go into that, but that's just an interesting thing. That's just something interesting to chew on. Indigo Children. Hmm. The only thing that I've heard that might qualify, and I don't think it's the same as what you're thinking, is that group of individuals in Kentucky who had a natural tint of blue to their skin. It was a genetic abnormality that just kept getting fill, folded in deeper and deeper and deeper into their genetic code, and pretty much all of the family has blue skin. But it was just like this one small village of um, people in Kentucky, which was weird. Children memories of another life. They were a complete memory of past life. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. I would love to say I had that. I have no memories of a past life. Freaky, maybe. I think it's fascinating. I honestly think, you know, reincarnation is a thing. I don't know if I believe it like it's the person, but definitely the soul. Like there's many instances of people talking about past lives and we can't really debunk it. We can't confirm it for sure, but we can't debunk it either. Hello. It's just one of those things. You just kind of like, again, remain with an open mind. Thank you. It's very nice of you to say. I don't know. You guys think you've had past lives? I don't think I have. Never had any inclination to believe I have. That's awesome, Angel. We match. I used to. I actually was born blonde, pretty blonde. It turned brown over the years. Kind of wish it had stayed blonde. My daughter's is probably going to stay blonde because by the time I was her age, it was already starting to turn brown, and hers isn't turning brown. Hers is just getting a more stunning shade of blonde. I thought it was funny. Um, I took her to see Wicked, the movie, and she loved it. And there's a song where Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, and Galinda, the Good Witch, were discussing each other to their parents, and Galinda can't describe Elphaba at all. She just goes on about how peculiar and unbelievable and how hard she is to describe. And then all Elphaba goes is Galinda is blonde. And my daughter took such offense to that. And I'm like, no, no, honey, it's not a bad thing. It's just like that's the only thing she could think of. It's like, eh. Will say I was pretty proud of myself. A family member made a blonde joke around my daughter, uh, kind of about my daughter, and I stomped that down really quickly because I'm like, we don't do blonde jokes. We got too many blondes in this family, and we got too many blondes that are going to stay blonde for us to have this type of joking in the family. We're not doing this. So I couldn't shut down the Wicked one, but I shut down that one. Yeah, I know who Sebastian Michaelis is. I'm gonna Sebastian Michaelis. The name is very familiar, but there's a few people it could be. To me, anyway. Yes, your mutual love of cats makes you do it. That's exactly it. No other explanation, no other evidence is needed. I'm severely allergic to cats, and it's funny because I actually do like cats. I mentioned this before. I'm very allergic to them, but I love them. I would have one if I could, but I can't. And I learned partially why. Apparently, there's an enzyme that cats produce in their mouth that when they use to clean, like to groom themselves, and that's a lot of the time what people are allergic to is that particular enzyme in their saliva. I think mine is also the dander that they have on their skin, but there's no winning here. Snow in Texas, I would say that's unheard of, but that's not really unheard of. I actually my mom has friends in Texas because she grew up there. They were posting pictures about where they lived in Texas, and a lot of them had just like a nice dusting of snow. Yeah, there was that freeze. Like I said, my mom grew up in Texas, and she always talked about how they didn't have snow, but they had ice storms a lot. So when Texas froze, I wasn't surprised because I'd always heard, Texas doesn't get snow, they get ice. Um, but when we lived there, we had snow once, the year we lived there, and it was on Easter. It snowed on Easter. And it was really pretty, and it was actual snow, like big fluffy flakes of snow. And I guess it was Easter Sunday, and it was just this white all over. And we were driving to church service at the time. We attended church there, and it was just so surreal to be driving in snow in Texas. See, I didn't get to have a snow day in Texas because it snowed on a Sunday, and then by the next day it all cleared up, and everybody was just talking about how odd it was that there was snow in April. I think it was. It was, yeah, very strange. Very cool though. I actually didn't have that many snow days because the places I lived a lot of the time had snow so much that they just didn't bother. Um, I think I had a snow day in Kentucky. I don't think it was necessarily a snow day. It was the pipes froze due to the snow the day before. It was so cold that the pipes froze in the school, so they just didn't have school. They couldn't even, they didn't even, this was before texting was a thing. They didn't even put an announcement on the radio or anything. They just had the principal and the vice principal standing outside the school where people were going in the car drop off lane, just drop their kids off, and then um, they were saying, "Nope, we can't. School's closed." I don't know if I can watch Black Butler. I mean, I take the recommendation. I've got other things I've got other shows I need to catch up on too. I'm so far behind. I'll never stay relevant in many senses of that phrase. I'm happy that a lot of shows that previously had ended on like poor cliffhangers or something are finally getting some sort of resolution, but it's just so much. Like the freaking Seven Deadly Sins on Netflix has a spin-off about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which they're just kids. They're just the kids of the Seven Deadly Sins. It's funny. And I'm like, they're on season 3 of that. I'm like, how? The Seven Deadly Sins just ended. Like that just, it feels like it just ended. Really, it ended several years ago now. Yeah, it's been a while. I still don't think I'm actually in 2025. I'm like, no, no, no. We're not 5 years past COVID. It's only 2021, 2022 at the most. We are that far gone. No, we're that far gone. Absolutely that far gone. But I do not like the animation style they're using for the Four Horsemen show. It's very 3D, and there's nothing wrong per se with 3D, just the way they're doing it. And then, of course, we had Attack on Titan end, and there's a movie coming out, which is just the last couple of episodes pushed together in one epic battle, and 2 extra minutes of content, I think they said. I'm like, I'm not paying $30 for 2 extra minutes of content. I'm scared of live action. I heard the One Piece live action was pretty good, but it got canceled. No surprise there. Netflix cancels anything that has promise and keeps the shit. Um, I actually want to watch that because I haven't ever watched One Piece, and I don't really want to start. Um, I only ever what did I do? So I make it bad on purpose. If you're talking about like the Japanese ones, I actually so I watch Mother's Basement because he actually does pretty fair reviews on stuff, and I appreciate his opinion. Um, he reviewed the live action FMA movies, and I'll admit the FMA movies aren't the greatest live action. Like visually, they're great. Visually, they're stunning, but plot wise, they're weak as hell. And I was reading, and this is from people who are in Japan because I was reading the comments because I was like, why would they deliberately make such bold choices? Does anybody have any insight? Kind of like a Reddit thing. And I went through his comments, and there were a lot of people like, oh, no, no, no. The Japanese don't make like scene for scene remakes. They take the highlights, put that in, and then they kind of have a loose plot to tie it all together. They're more just focused on making the big, like the pivotal scenes have a huge impact. They're not super interested in accuracy and plot. Kind of like how we are in the US, but they at least want the cool stuff to stay there. Miss Irwin. I think it would have been interesting if he had lived longer. I feel like I know why he had to die, but at the same time, like, I feel like we needed him more just as like a counterpoint. Like it would have been great to see it be Erwin versus Aaron as far as who's going to follow which. I guess I'm going to use the word and it's probably going to be in wrong doxology. You have the Jaegerists and then you have the Scouts, and it would have seen it. It would have really been cool to see all of them like rally around Erwin, and then whoever wanted to rally around Aaron and see who picked which side. Because what we were left with in the series was just uh, what we were just left with is they were the Scouts were rallying around what they perceived to be Erwin's vision and memory, whereas if we had the man himself there, it would have been really interesting to see how things went, because a lot of people suggest Erwin may have been a Jaegerist, and I can kind of see some merit in that. Erwin was very interested in learning about life outside the walls. He wanted to know history because his dad was a history teacher. He wanted to know things. He wanted to unravel the mystery. So would he have sided with Aaron to learn that? Would he have not? What would he have done? I really want to know what Erwin's perspective would have been on the whole thing. And I'm sure there's been interviews with Isayama about the topic and all that, but it would have been a lot cooler if Erwin had stuck around long enough for, like, he could have died during the battle. Like, that would have been a huge hit. That would have been a huge hit to the Scouts if Erwin died while they were fighting Aaron. Um, that would have been um, that would have been a really interesting take on things. And what would have been even more interesting is if Erwin had died as a result of like the Jaeger's direct actions, like it was an assassination or something. But then it was revealed later that it was planned between Aaron and Erwin as like a we need to get the ball rolling kind of thing. Um, and so Erwin was a secret Jaegerist the entire time, or he saw the merit of Aaron's position or something like that. That would have been interesting too. Like there's so much they could have done more with Erwin that killing him kind of took away from the plot. Again, I understand why, but he could have died later. He could have died later. It would have been much better. But that's the thing. That's why I'm saying it would have had to have been planned between Aaron and Erwin, because because Aaron is very much aware of the Ackerman bond thing, because I mean he has one with Mikasa, and I think Levi has one with Erwin, but they would have had to orchestrate it in a way that it happened. I mean, Erwin still died in the battle. Like Levi didn't protect him then. He didn't rush to his aid right then. He didn't let it. He basically gave him permission to die. But that's why I'm saying it would have had to have been planned between the two, because they would have had to account for that. So there couldn't have been any weak points in the plan. Erwin would have had to constructed his end a certain way to allow for the assassination to happen, and Aaron would have had to constructed his end a certain way for the assassination to happen. Like it would have had to have been a joint effort, and that's where I'm getting at. Like, it would have been perfect that there was this, big kaboom kind of thing. Like, how Aaron killing Tiber started the war in Marley after Tiber declared war, and Aaron jumps out. It could have been something like that with Erwin, like a big dramatic moment and then bullet to the head or something, some shit that Levi couldn't have stopped, couldn't have predicted, and there you go. I honest to God think if Aaron had just stopped for 5 minutes and talked to somebody, but we know communication is not a strong point apparently in any fucking anime. He could have worked something out with everybody where it didn't end the way it did. I'm sure he felt because he saw it happen a certain way, it had to happen a certain way. But it's just, why? Why couldn't he just talk to somebody? Why couldn't he just, for 5 fucking minutes had an honest to God conversation with somebody about what he was seeing and whatever. Oh, I read. I mean, I don't think, I don't think Erwin would have. I honestly think Erwin was pretty balanced as far as his perspective on things. Like he didn't see evil, he didn't see good. He just saw useful and not useful. Basically, he's kind of like lawful neutral, I guess. Like he works within the law, but he also is very neutral in a lot of respects. Kind of like dad, like chill dad mode, but more like he sees all of it, and he's just like, what information is useful to me? What information is not useful to me? How can I use it? How should I not? Like he operates more on information versus emotion or loyalty or anything like that. He wants to know, and he wants to know why, and he wants to understand, and he just wants to know how it can be of use to him, which is pretty fair. I think a pretty fair assessment of how he runs things. Like, is he passionate about being Commander of Scouts? Yes. But he's also passionate about driving his dream forward, which is to know what life is like beyond the wall. He wants to get there. He wants to know what it's like there. And I feel like killing him before he got the chance was just a fucking waste of potential. He really did have a good grasp on the situation. He was so eager to learn more about the world, and he didn't get a chance to. And it's like, couldn't we could have killed him. You could have killed him. Just, you should have saved it for later, for a more interesting moment. I know it was a whole moral dilemma thing of Erwin and Armin, but let's not give it that. Let's make Armin the Colossal Titan, because Armin, that made sense. But let's keep Erwin as commander. Let's keep Erwin in everything. Let's keep Erwin alive and see how he operates within this whole Jaegerist shit. I think like, I know Isayama had to do certain things, but killing Erwin too early was a big mistake. Yes, exactly. He could have been alive for a while. I mean, I feel like if Erwin died because of a Jaegerist plot, it could have given more reason for the scouts to go against Aaron. But at the same time, it probably would have made, like, it would have really sealed the deal. If he really wanted people to hate him so much, that would have been a great way to do it. Like, him acting like an asshole for your 2 parts of a season was kind of dumb. It would have just been, it just could have been like a better unifying point, I think, for the scouts. Like, you really want to vilify Aaron, make him the reason Erwin's dead. And then, just to show how twisted this show can be, make it a planned assassination between Erwin and Aaron. Like, have them sit down and have a conversation about it. And have it be Erwin's idea. Have it be Erwin's idea. Like, I feel they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with how things were supposed to end. Like, it just is kind of dumb. The rumbling was kind of dumb. The way they went about it was kind of dumb. Like, there's so much that was so dumb. It would have been so much more interesting if they kept certain characters around. how they were going to kill him. Maybe he could have just simply gotten injured by a small rock instead of a fucking boulder. Right, yeah. I mean, from what I've seen, Levi never actively protected Erwin. Like, he never, like, you know how Mikasa deliberately puts herself in harm's way for Eren, and Levi does too. I've not seen Levi do that for Erwin. I've seen him warn Erwin that something is stupid, that he's making a poor choice, but I've never seen him like intervene. He just kind of lets Erwin do his thing, which also suggests to me that he might not have a Ackerman bond with him. It may not be like that because he was willing to let Erwin die. And Mikasa is never willing to let Eren die. And I know she's in love with him, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, there's a pretty good argument for the Ackerman bond thing. Like, even with Kenny and Yuri, they say they were bonded. Like, yeah, I could see it. And I could say that Kenny was very much not for what happened to Yuri. That would have been an interesting twist, but they would have, the amount of things that would have had to happen for that to happen is a little bit much, because the only reason they were able to make Armin the Colossal was because they had the serum from Rod Reese. So that was, but that didn't happen for a while. Like, there was a lot that would have had to have happened for us to get that potential. Because Petra, I also feel like they killed off the Levi squad too early. I know why they did it. It was to bring Eren's friends into the forefront. But was it really all that necessary? We could have had a couple survive. I mean, Olo and Petra could have survived. That would have been fine. Gunther Neld, I'm sorry, you didn't have much development, but, Olo and Petra could have survived. It would have been interesting. They didn't have to kill everybody off. It's just like, I understand not everybody's going to survive this war. No, that was not the point. That everybody would survive and get a happy ending. I get that. I understand that fully. I don't particularly care to be lectured on it. What I don't like is overkill. Same person. Yeah, it does. The best part is that Levi knew, and it irritated the crap out of him. He just didn't know how to tell him that it irritated him and to stop, which is just even funnier to me because it's like, Levi has no problem telling people off, so why did he have such a big problem telling Olo off? But anyway, there's just, like, Mike didn't need to die. We didn't need to lose Mike at all. It would have been cool to keep him around. No, but what I've heard is that the reason people like Mikasa and Levi couldn't be turned into a Titan is because their bloodline is the result of Titan experiments, so they're kind of immune to that. That's also why they're immune to the founder Titan. Yeah, they're the result of Titan experimentation. And that's, again, why they're largely immune to the effects of the founder and why they're considered dangerous. At least considered dangerous to a founder. But again, it just goes back to, there were so many people that should have lived longer. You can kill them off later, but just let them live a little longer. Like Mike could have lived a little longer. I wanted to see more of him. He was a pretty cool character. Some of the squad Levi. It would have been cool to have some vets teaching the newbies some stuff and bonding and having this like mentorship with them, and then killing them off and making it more impactful because you got to know who they are. You got to see how they interacted. Like, make the death impactful. Like, don't just kill him for the sake of shock value. That's such a fucking waste. No, we'll never find out. I don't even think Isayama knows. But anyway, I think a lot of the deaths in Attack on Titan were just shock value. Um they just had no bearing on anything other than just wanting to shock the viewer, the reader, whoever. Um I would say Carla's death was pretty impactful just from the get go because like it's a kid's mom. It's a mom. We already knew her. We got a gist for her. Like she was a pretty cool in person, and it had an impact. It wasn't just for shock value. That was fine. That happened. I don't know. Um, but yeah, we could have had like Carla's death was impactful enough. That was fine. That one was fine. Grisha's disappearance was cool too because we didn't know what had really happened to him until later. So finding out what happened to him was a shock. Um, Again, all the people dying in season 2 because of Reiner and Zeke and Bert was kind of lame. Like, he introduced us to these really cool characters, and we're gonna kill them off right away. And we're gonna drop all the really cool characters like Rico because, it doesn't matter. Like, Rico was cool. Why didn't we get more Rico? Why no more Rico? They just introduced cool characters and killed them off. It's like, then what was the point of introducing them if you're just gonna kill them off anyway? Once everybody kind of just ate it, did it, whatever you want to say, in season 2, season 3 was just like meh. Nobody important died. It was all political shit. That's fine, kinda. Maybe it's season 4, and I will say the most pointless death in that entire show that put me off the whole thing of ever being interesting or redeemable was Sasha's death. Not Anifa? Vaguely. But I mean, what about the chick Maria? Marie? Or no or if Nifa's who you're Nina. Nina's who you're talking about. Nina, the one who found the talking Titan. We went nowhere with that. That would have been cool, but no, we introduced this idea and it goes away. There's so much that he introduced that just kind of went away. And I get that you have a lot to write about, but why introduce it if it's not going to be? Mm. But you also made me remember Nina too. So good, kudos on that because again, that's what I feel like FMA Brotherhood does so well. Is they introduce seemingly innocuous plot lines, and it pays off later. But with Attack on Titan, they introduced innocuous timelines, and it goes or timelines, innocuous details, and it goes nowhere. I I feel like that was an exposition dump. I feel like that could have been they could have substituted anybody for her, and it could have worked. It was just an info dump. They just needed you to understand why Levi had it out for Kenny. We could have waited until, Hanji asked the question or John asked the question or anybody fucking asked the question, but they just did that. Like they did it. I don't know. I don't think any, but I'm sure Erwin suspected, but since they didn't have a real clear, like Levi didn't even know his last name for a while, like or willingly acknowledged his last name for a while. Um, so I don't know if Erwin ever made the connection. But circling back to my original point of pointless death, Sasha's was just why to show that not everybody had plot armor. Okay, that would have made fucking sense if anybody else important died. Um, I know Hanji died, but that's like not really a shocker at that point. It still hurt like hell, but I don't know. It feels like they just okay, they shot Sasha. Great. All they took away from that was trauma. No, Connie didn't get injured in the end. Jean didn't get injured in the end. Mikasa didn't get injured or killed. Like nobody after that really died. Nobody of value actually like fucking died until Zeke, Aaron, like, but nobody in the squad died until Kanji and Levi got the crap. Just got the absolute crappiest luck of the draw on that one. And I think that was just because somebody pointed out, hey, Levi's got a lot of fucking plot armor. We know he's going to survive because, you can't kill Levi. Well, let's give him no eye, no missing two fingers, and then have his leg get completely destroyed. It's like, what was the point? I would have been fine with the eye thing or the finger thing or both. That would have been fine. The leg just felt like just a fucking step too far. Because if I think it's the same leg that got broken in the like when he rescued Aaron from Annie. I think it was the same leg. I think there was some, you could call it foreshadowing, like whatever. But I just feel like it was unfair to heap so much on care. Like Sasha's death was pointless, absolutely pointless. It did nothing for the plot. It did nothing. It was just shock value. Seriously, just shock value because fucking Gabby should not have been able to make that shot. Like, no 10-year-old should be a master marksman. And if she is, the fucking military should have snatched her up a lot sooner. And I agree with you, Angel. That was Sasha's death was unredeemable. But again, Gabby shouldn't have been able to make that shot. She shouldn't have been able to shoot Aaron's head off. Like, Gabby had the fucking plot armor. That's where all the plot armor went in the series. All of it was removed from Levi and put on that little brat. There was no way she should have done what she did, and it was utterly fucking pointless. It was just, again, it's like, I get she's Reiner's cousin. I get she's supposed to be the female version of Aaron's design. But no, he wrote himself into a fucking corner, and he had to get out of it somehow. So he introduced this absolutely bullshit character to do it, and we are left with what we're left with. And honest to fucking God, it I hate Gabby not because of what she did. I mean, that's true. I hate Gabby the fact she exists because she does nothing except deliver some plot points that somebody couldn't figure out for themselves. Hello. Your previous question. Do you know? I don't think they did. Where did you? I'm curious. Where did you hear that? Because I never saw that. Because that would have been on the wiki. You know that would have been on the wiki, and it was never. I've never seen that on the wiki. But Gabby just felt like she was a plot device to do what Isayama couldn't write any other character to do, because reasons, I guess. It's kind of dumb. Yeah, kind of really fucking dumb. There's just Hanji's death also seemed pointless to me. I never really understood it. Oh, I'm gonna buy you time. From fucking what? The world is being crushed by these giant hulking beasts. You're gonna buy them time doing what? You're gonna give them a chance by what? It just didn't make any sense. I'm sure in context it does, but I can't really wrap my head around that one either. Again, I think it was just maybe. Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know for sure. But Anyway, none of the deaths after a point seem to be of any value plot wise. It was, again, just shocking. It's like death for shock value is always kind of lame. And I know people can argue and say, well, it's because in war you never get, like, it never ends well, and people's dreams die all the time, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, fine. But this is not a real war. This is a written war. This is someone telling a story. So why does the story have to have so many meaningless fucking deaths? It's like Game of Thrones. At some point, the deaths meant something. After a point, they were just for shock value. They were just because. And I feel like most of the deaths in Attack on Titan after a point were just because. I do feel like maybe a couple here and there for people we knew would make sense. But it would have been better if it had happened later at a time when it made sense. Okay, we meet Levi's squad. We get they have a history. Great. Fan-fucking-tastic. Why should I care that they all just got splat? I didn't actually care that they got splatted. What I cared about was they're also fucking dumb that they're trying to talk Aaron out of actually doing something useful. And they're like, no, no, we can handle it. We can handle this Titan we've never encountered before. We can handle this situation we've never encountered before with this, what we're calling abnormal, which we already know are dangerous, but we're going to just say we can handle it. Instead of letting the dude who can turn into that thing handle the thing. That was my whole thing. I'm like, you guys are stupid. Why? And Aaron's like, I trusted them and I let them down. I was like, no, dude, they let you down because they didn't know what the fuck they signed up for, and they just thought they were cocky enough to handle it. That was their mistake. You are blameless. You are absolutely blameless. They were dumb. That's where I'm at with them. I didn't really care they died. I kind of knew they were gonna die. Just from my first watch, I'm like, these people are gonna die. They're just gonna die. They're just cannon fodder. Like, we get names and we get descriptions, but they're cannon fodder because we need to have an introduction for the rest of the squad. Like, how can we have Levi's already got an established squad? How can we bring in the other people? Oh, we kill off these people in a really stupid way. Again, you could kill off a couple of them, but keep a couple of the others, and then use them to help transition the newbies in. They could die. They could have died at the Battle of Shingashina for all I care. But give them a meaningful death. Like, have it be like it's the end of an era for the kids. Like, they're no longer being mentored because their mentors died. So now all they have to do is now that's all that's left is picking up the pieces, building on on the foundation their mentors gave them, and continuing on. Like, that would have been better than we're just going to kill these people before you actually get to know them, and they're not going to have any impact on the plot except make Levi sad sometimes when he thinks about him, or give Aaron some guilt. That was the whole point. That was the whole point. No. Keeping Olo and Petra alive would have been great because then they could have been like parents to the new kids, and were their like I said, their mentors taught them, um, like, just done more. And then when the Battle of Shiganshina happened, then they got Then we have some meaningful deaths because now it's the end of everything. We are on the end of the world as we knew it. We're on to this new world where we know it's in the basement. It's a transition period where now the mentors are gone, and it's now time to step into the new. That's why Erwin's death is so stupid. It's like, it's not really the end of an era with Erwin. It's more like just a fucking, let's just drop the fucking ball because Hanji as commander didn't do much, didn't do anything. And I'm guessing that's the point, but at the same time, it's like, we could have used Erwin a little bit longer because his death being the ushering in of the Jaegerist shit would have been amazing. That would have shown this is truly done. Erwin is gone. The scouts are gone. We just have his memory to hold them together against the Jaegerists who killed Erwin, who gave a rallying point for the scouts against them. Like, that would have been better. That would have been more impactful. We would have had a better reason to hate each other than Aaron acting like a fucking dick for 2 parts of a season. That was just so wasted. I love Attack on Titan. I love the characters, but there was so much potential in the plot. And we did not get that potential at all. We got hints of it, but we didn't get the full scope of it, and it's so sad because it was such a great story in the beginning. It was so much. There was so much mystery, and then it was gone. And it's not because we solved the mystery; it's just because they didn't know what to do with the information once they got it. There was nothing going forward. There was no driving anything. It was just, okay, we have this information. Now we don't know how to handle this information. So what do we do? Well, Aaron went off and started a war. Well, I guess we have something to do now. That's just kind of how it felt to me. You're making me look like a loon. Are you? I think you're just saying, yeah, I'm looking like a crazy person. Or are you reacting to what I'm saying? Are you reacting to what I'm saying while you're working? Because you shouldn't do that. You really shouldn't do that, Wolf. Okay. You shouldn't do that. God, I sound like the character from, oh, what is his name? Shen Wan from Self or from Scumville and Self-Serving System. I sound like him because he would just rant and rave about the plot holes in his favorite story, and I'm like ranting and raving about the plot holes and improper use of character death and shit in my favorite story. So, yay. Yes, I am. Yes, it's just so infuriating. Oh my god. And Levi was just so unfair. I was talking about that with someone earlier. She was laughing at me. She's like, "Well, veterans have this all the time. They come out of war like this all the time." I'm like, I know, but Levi didn't deserve it. He really didn't. It was like somebody just said he has too much plot armor, so Yama went bet, and then took it all, gave it to Gabby, and then we're left with what we got for Levi. And it's like, you didn't have to do that. We would have been fine with a couple of things, but not that. It was fucking brutal and pointless. So fucking pointless. Anyway, I have to sign off here because I'm getting way too worked up and it's late and I have to do shit tomorrow. But thank you all for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this. I don't even know what this is. Thank you to everybody new who joined. It was great to meet you. Thank you to everybody who returned from either subscribers or previous viewers of the lives. It was great seeing you guys again. I hope you have a great night, a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye, everybody.